And H2K back on blue side. Gonna ban away the Camille once more. Still respecting the pick for Wonder.
Should just ban the Galio as well. And I think they can also just ban the Xayah like they did in game 1. Take the same kind of situation where you first pick Sejuani. It's been a fantastic pick for Yankers so far. And I think if you're H2K, you're kind of looking for just a standard pick a man face now. The only thing you want to avoid is Splyce, you know, throwing around crazy picks. Sejuani ban is an adaptation though from Splyce.
Yeah, see if that is enough for them. Across 2 games, Jankos had a fantastic performance with the engages. Still a couple more bans to go before we get our first lock. It's 8 seconds on the H2K side.
We have this Tristana, Xayah, Rakan thing again. If H2K bans Xayah, they avoid that whole situation. That's what they're doing. Can just first pick Tristana now, which we fine, as we no longer want to see. And that we want to get a fade away. Oh, there players! Hey!
We were experiencing technical difficulties.
That was all on purpose, man.
Oh,
you gotta sell it, Pyra. Trying some new camera angles here in the ULCS.
There you go.
Hope you guys liked it.
My bad there. Anyways, Alistair, he's off the board, so there's the Tristana up and available.
And Jarvan is also available. Now, I personally prefer the first pick Tristana and give Jarvan over, because I think Tristana is so good against Jarvan specifically. I want to see if H2K agrees. Rakan is also there. So if you're a Splyce, you should take the Jarvan, and I think you can just take the Rakan again if you want to, and you have flex pick Jarvan. The key thing is you need to flex Jarvan. You don't pick Jarvan plus a jungler, because then the enemy team goes Renekton and Jarvan gets destroyed. You gotta pick the Jarvan and flex it.
Jarvan starts off, we'll see if they deliver. I feel like you definitely gotta pick the Rakan. It's just so good for Mickey, but they're going for the Sivir.
All right, they want Sivir against Tristana, perfectly fine as well. Okay, potentially giving Che the Rakan, because you gotta remember Thresh is still open. So if Splyce had taken the Rakan right there, Thresh might have just been the lock-in instantly on the side of H2K, and that would have been a very tough lane for Splyce to play. So I think it makes perfect sense taking the AD carry first. They can still take support next. Chase still to the way though.
All right, Rakan is locked.
Give me Mickey Thresh.
On the Elise. Of course, that's a big Jankos early game champion.
Actually, what I would like from Mickey here, and I don't know if he even wants to play it, but I think Morgana makes perfect sense with Sivir against Rakan. Like, Spell Shield, Black Shield is really hard to get onto the Sivir, and then in late game fights, Krabi is just a huge carry. We gotta see a jungle pick from H2K. It will be the Gragas.
Take away from Trashy. Well, unless the Jarvan ends up being the choice.
Mickey wants to play the Thresh though. He wants to take this. He wants to try and see if he can bully out the Rakan. I think that's fine as well, and I think that's the reason he did not pick the Rakan on his side. Still think Morgana is valuable here also against Gragas. I'm gonna keep sliding it in there.
But I had a few games on it too. But
I understand.
Far and away, Thresh is much more of a comfortable pick for him. He likes to set up and make those plays, not sit in the back line and diving in and playing off the dark bindings.
I understand it perfectly for Mickey. Wants to see if he can outplay Che in a 1v1. Cassiopeia getting removed. February found a lot of success on the champion the last 2 games.
Yeah. Had to find himself a different type of champion.
Syndra is still up, and Syndra actually been the most successful mid laner in all the playoffs. No matter which team played it, they've found a lot of success with it, often playing around the mid lane.
Played a lot of games too.
H2K might be going for the blind pick Orianna now that Cassiopeia is gone, and they're banning LeBlanc, which is of course one of the picks against this Orianna here.
And something Senguk's made a name for himself on way back in the day when he first joined the European LCS. Not played it so much lately. H2K still waiting. Their final ban as Lucian was off the board for Splyce.
And Splyce needs to decide, do they want to show where the Jarvan is going in the first pick, or do they want to just grab a safe mid lane choice, like Orianna? With LeBlanc banned, I think Splyce can just take the Orianna. For Senkooks, they can't take it anymore because it's banned.
I think H2K were thinking the same thing you were.
You might have to go Corki or Syndra then, and just say, show your mid, safe flex pick Jarvan, and that's what they're doing.
All right, back over balls in H2K's court for the final time in this pick ban phase. Still waiting on that top laner and that mid.
Yeah, just give us Syndra for Feb event.
Makes sense. I mean, he loves playing that champion too.
Yeah, exactly. And then you gotta blind pick your top. Rumble is available, so is Gnar. But picking Gnar blind is something where you always gotta be a little bit careful when you're against Wonder up in a top lane. He's a man who plays a lot of different, weird, odd picks that could come out as this hidden champion. I call it hidden. There's a Kennen, which is a fairly known one. There's a Jace as well. Both picks work well against the Gnar. So Uranda knows if he's picking this one, he's probably gonna get counter-picked. That's why, of course, he's gonna go for Garen, which has no counters in the game.
Or Gangplank. Haha.
He's gonna go now.
Well, H2K, fill out the composition. You said this would be something a little more standard. So far, looks the way it is.
Give us Jace.
Will we see the Jace?
Give me Jace. Play around top side. Try and snowball him. You have a safe mid lane and Corki. You have a fairly safe bot lane as well with the Sivir. Just do it, Splyce. Just give me that Jace. Yeah, Israel jungle, yada yada.
Oh, it's the cannon.
They go cannon. That's fine. Prefer the Jace, but I think seeing Wonder's cannon should be fun. Up in the top lane, it will most likely be AP cannon.
He's had one game of it.
Exactly. The AP cannon is what we see most of the time, where you still pick it because of strong laning phase and go Doran's Blade. And you try and just see if you can actually bully the Gnar a little bit, and then you become powerful in team fights. I think in this case here, he wanted a champion that was a bit stronger in team fights, which is why he went cannon over the Jace.
All right, well, that's definitely a win condition for Splyce, as it has been for both these teams in the entirety of the series. For H2K's side, you know, they're not shy of damage nor engage potential either. You've got a Gragas, you've got a Rakan. I wonder if Jay can really match what Mickey X has been bringing, though, on that champion. We'll have to find out. But H2K, even if they lose this one, they're still in a comfortable position. It's match point. It will be match point for the rest of this series.
Yeah, it's true. But when you lose that third game after being up 2-0, a lot of the players are talking about, like, that's like the worst feeling ever.
Is it really? Is it losing the second one after that worse?
No, but like, it's like you already start getting that feeling of, oh man, the comeback, it might happen actually. Like, they might win the next game as well, and then, oh my god, are we gonna get reverse swept?
That sounds like a real big reading into it. But I guess if it happens to players,
hey, no, this is just from talking to players and coaches.
Hey, that's like, fair enough, man. You don't want to lose one. You want to put it away. And how big would it be for a team that relies on momentum as much as H2K to sweep their way into the next round against the Unicorns of Love, trying to make up for the fact that they faltered yet again at the playoff stage? Will they be able to do it, or will the Splyce boys be able to sing a song of comeback? We'll find out as we load up onto Summoner's Rift for game number 3 here in the European Regional Qualifiers.
Of course, important that Corki can run teleport in the mid lane, guaranteeing an even safer lane for Senkooks. Needs to always respect their Syndra stun into a Gragas gank, but we are looking at top lane once again, because Wonder is sitting with his cannon up against the Gnar from Odoamne. It is the lane that Splyce needs to be able to win with this Gnar, or with this cannon.
Well, Odoamne getting a little bit of help of Yankos to bodyguard him around for just a moment, but it's still a line of scrimmage. Nobody's going to go for any trick plays in the level 1. We've had enough action across the series without that.
We always had to wait a few levels before we got all the action.
Yeah, but once we did have it, oh boy, the fun never ended. We
get Thunderlord's cannon with AP runes starting Doran's shield in this case here, but it is AP cannon coming in from Wonder's side.
Of course, you know, fans that might have not tuned in for a while used to see the AP cannon back in the day, a couple of years in fact, and everyone remembers the big Smebolt at Worlds. Not quite as powerful as it used to be.
Yeah, the fact that you ulti just when you actually use it does not have the same burst as it used to. It kind of ruined that kind of setup. At least we haven't seen it yet. I actually think AP cannon top, and I'm just going to check this in 2 seconds, but I'm fairly sure it's been one of the least successful top lane picks around the world.
You got to call the reckless 80 carry cannons out of that one.
Of course, and that's the thing. But
well, you go ahead and hit the books, and we'll get this game on the way. Of course, the bottom lane, Mickey denied his Rakan pick this time around on another very comfortable champion on the Thresh, and I feel like trying to ban away Mickey is something a lot of teams did against Splyce in the regular season. And it always seemed like he had one more trick up his sleeve, but when he's on a comfortable pick, you see a whole nother side of this player, and he's just such an incredible playmaking support. And that's another win condition for Splyce. I mean, it's saved them so many times in this series. Yeah, it's not been enough to get a game, but they've just been able to do oh so much. And we might be in for an early gank to Fischio. Trashy coming down on level 2.
Ooh, let's see what he can do. Thresh is always an easy target. Che might try and force something from Copy as well, but look at Mickey now going forward.
Okay, here we go. Flag and drag. Going back, flayed.
I don't know why I called Thresh the easy target when I, in fact, meant the Rakan.
Well, he would be an easy target.
He would have been. It's true. The statement was correct.
Yeah.
Technically correct.
I got your back. I got your back.
I like it. Sadly, actually, just to change the whole thing, because in my brain, because I was over here looking at the other screen, I'm like, oh, it's probably the Thresh getting ganked. No, it was Splyce trying to gank here, meaning that you can't really kill anything. There's a jump on one guy. Actually, does a jump on both guys. Nice hook, though.
Oh, good. Boomerang Blade gonna catch on a couple. Nuclear already chunked out a little low, and Mickey X is the one who's taking the trade back. 5 CS advantage so far for Kabi. It's pretty easy to equalize. Want to see when the junglers start heading up towards the top side. Well, of course, checking on Kabi's performance the last game, because he was the primary and pretty much the only damage dealer in that game, and he really made it count, just wasn't enough to lead his team to victory.
Oh, Trashy's trying again. This time I'm gonna get it right.
Okay, flash, jump. Oh, and he waves. But there's a hook on to Che.
But
that was a little weird.
I find it very interesting that Trashy are investing so much time against the lane with double jumps. Ganking Rakan is super difficult because, again, ton of mobility. Nuclear as well. Unless you can actually completely flash flay this Tristana and then hook her in her jump, it is very difficult to actually kill this lane.
Yeah, and for Splyce's side, up in the top, they might be in danger of getting ganked as well. Wonder under his tower, but Jankos is not too far away on this Gragas.
Exactly, and luckily for Splyce, Wonder is safe. So while Trashy did not get any kills, he did get a bit of a CS advantage for Copy in the bottom lane, which is of course worth something as well.
Sure, but that's a lot of investment to try and get that, and Mickey's burned both of his summoners. He has been really quick on the draw to try and make these plays. You know, I've been praising Mickey, and we've been talking about his, you know, his ability to start fights off, but it seems like he's jumping the gun a little bit.
I mean,
maybe with the help of Trashy.
When the call is, you know, go for this gank here, of course, Mickey's going to try and invest everything to make it work. Here's the play mid.
Oh boy, Yanko's going in, looking for that first blood king once more. Senkuk's oh so low, and he's going to be able to walk away. Not even using the flash. Trashy's here, though. He's going to have to flag and drag over that wall. A little too low on the health bar to really combat 1v2.
Senkuk's keeping it cool right there, but that was the setup we've seen before here in the EU LCS. The Syndra long-range stun into a body slam flash from a Gragas to try and secure a kill, but no summoners blown by Senkuk's. Flash down from Yanko, so he's going back into his jungle to farm. Splyce, while they invest a lot bottom side, they stay alive in mid.
Yanko's still staying in mid.
Just want to push it out now. Just want to push out the lane. Syndra is fell low on mana.
Hook, once again, landing on the Tristana. Nuclear, it's a lot of damage on him, but it's not enough to really finish the job. The Lantern forward, let's see if he goes forward to take it. Yes, he does. Heal popped by Nuclear. That's the first time H2K has had to use a summoner down on the bottom side.
Let's remember, though, Mickey playing without summoners at the moment, so in case Jankos can show up on bottom side, it is a kill onto that Thresh. However, they did see Jankos sitting in mid, so they knew they were safe to go for the engage. Trashy's not been farming any of the big camps just yet.
Man, he just keeps landing these hooks time and again. There's no heal this time for Nuclear. Mickey on the front to knock up a hop for Nuclear. This time Trashy might be going all the way under the tower. The Krugs are going to follow him, it looks like. They can't do it, though, with too many minions at their backs.
Jankos on the way as well. Che will spot Trashy, force him to just step away from the camp.
So much focus on this bottom side.
But it's also now because Mickey's just landing so many hooks. Like, with the ganks and the hooks landing, they're trying to get a big CS lead for Copy, but there's a big wave that Nuclear will pick up. Meanwhile, top lane.
Wonder. Okay, he thought he was out nice and safe. He's got to be careful here. As Odoamne back down to mid, he's going to be able to throw some boomerangs at his face.
So once again for Wonder here, picking it against the Gnar with the AP cannon. Your split pushing is not as effective, obviously. It's much more about joining your team and have these big AoE ultis in fights. And then it's all about Trashy actually engaging first. Trashy needs to go in with the Sivir ulti, start the fight. Wonder needs to follow with his TP or flank or flash to get to that back line of H2K.
Now Mickey's coming into the mid, looking for Febvin insta-heal. Not going to wait to be hooked. But since there's been so much attention on the bottom side, it's such an even game in CS up top between the Gnar and the Kennen. Is this going to hurt Splyce for the time being, Deficio?
Not that much. I mean, it's not the end of the world by any means. Obviously, you want to have this Kennen winning his lane, so it's great that Odoamne is actually doing what he's doing, but when it is AP Kennen, it's less about stomp early game and more about actually just be really good in fights. Vedius joining in, currently highlighting that H2K have won every single game against Splyce in 2017. 8-0 before the series.
Two, though.
They definitely had to earn them. They're trying to make it 11-0. There was some good Twitter banter as well between Odoamne and Wonder before the game started.
Always is.
And Odoamne made it very clear he wanted to make it 11-0.
All right. This is the quietest game we've had of the series so far. No first blood, 7.5 minutes into the clock, and big CS advantage is really making up the big difference of the gold, which is not huge on the bottom side. Kabi. But of course, now Jankos hunting around. Wonder is actually backing in this second tier brush. It means that Odoamne and Jankos, they might get free time on this tower.
Yeah, they will definitely get at least all the minions to die under the tower and then get a full reset. Wonder has to go back and get his Haunting guys, and knew there was also Syndra coming to top side. Look at his play here, Pyra. He's TPing to the bottom lane.
Ooh, Mickey, a rare miss on that hook, but in comes the Kennen. Now Chain Nuclear, they're going to have to request some backup. Teleport coming down for Otawamne as well. Will Splyce still commit to this dive?
Yeah, but all of H2K are already sitting in the bottom lane. I really think Wonder should have started walking back to lane, waited to see if he saw Otawamne TP to the lane, and then he could have made this play here. Trashy wasn't even in range to join instantly, and some of the calls from Splyce are feeling a little bit over-aggressive. Otawamne, of course, had to blow his TP, so technically they're just trading TPs against each other. But there's a big wave pushing against H2K on top side. That's a lot of minions getting denied now for the Kennen.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that Splyce are kind of going a little bit ham in this very early game. I'm wondering if the fact that they are down 2-0 is not getting to them just a little bit. We've talked about the reverse side of it. You don't want to lose that third game and then all of your momentum evaporates. But for Splyce, it seems like they're trying to go more aggressive than maybe they need to.
But again, they're trying to just brute force this tower here. Wonder realizes the lane is pushing against him in the top lane, so he's just staying in the bottom lane right now, calling in Trashy as well. There was a package from Senkook's side to maybe join in as well. He's in engage.
Shay, he gets 2-man knock up, or knock back, I should say, as Jankos was the one throwing the party barrel out. It's first blood instantly for Nuclear. Kabi goes on the hunt all the way back to base, and now Senkook's, he's trying to run out of here and take the Valkyrie right over the wall. Febvin can't do much more to him than that, but Splyce's play backfiring. Let's see if they can get round number 2. Nuclear, no, he flashes away. Yanko's tagging his way in, flayed back by Mickey X. Let's see if they have the damage. There's the Jarvan Cataclysm on 3, but Trashy might be the one caught in the pit, and he doesn't want it. Exhaust burned as soon as it was right back up off cooldown, and they will go empty-handed.
But look, top lane right now, Otawamne just picked up that massive wave. He's gonna push it into tower as well, so all the minions will die. Wonder is getting nothing. He's down in CS, down in experience. He all in for this bot lane play. And it ended up being H2K getting the first blood. Like, Splyce's call right there was just straight up bad. They did not have Trashy nearby to join in. They did not have Senkook's in position to join instantly. And they didn't even see Otawamne's teleport just yet. That was too easy for H2K to react to. And now it means that this Kennen is like 25 CS behind.
Yeah, and that's the critical part of this composition, to try and get themselves in these good team fight situations. Splyce have been able to do it from behind so many times in this series, but it feels like they're shooting themselves in the foot right now. And don't want to do that when Nuclear's the one with the big gun already facing at you.
Yeah, so first blood Tristana, advantage top lane for Gnar as well. Splyce have been trying and trying and trying to get bot lane ahead. They've been trying too much. Instead of maybe going and switch it up, play around topside a little bit with the Jarvan.
Yeah, that's what you said they needed to do very early on, but there's been no attention from the jungler, and even the top laner hasn't even been there half the time.
I mean, it can be a little bit difficult to gank for the Kennen against a ranged champion, but bot lane against the Tristana Rakan, like, it was really based on Mickey stopping Nuclear from jumping away, and when that didn't work, Trashy ended up wasting a lot of time, and suddenly Splyce did not get anything in the early game, but they're down now, 500, 600, 700 gold. While it sucks to be Wonder for just a moment, it's not the end of the world. They can still definitely make some plays in this game here, but you guys see they're under pressure in the bottom lane, in the mid lane, in the top lane. So 3 lanes right now pushing for H2K.
Yep, a little bit of gold lead. If they start knocking down towers too, it's going to keep on extending. And of course, H2K a free roam of this river. Let's see if Splyce can make the desperation play. Pulling in. Oh man, they're throwing everything down there. Flashes and dashes. Can they get Nuclear? Trashy hops on and puts him in the pit. He doesn't have the last auto attack. With the exhaust coming down, they might settle for Che, but Jankos turns around, and he's going to be the first to fall. Jankos gets one. Febvin flanking in the back. Doesn't have enough damage to finish anyone else off, but all the same, they're going to pull back Jankos with the hook. Do they have the damage for an equalizing kill? They do. But it's a 1-for-1 that was hard-earned by Splyce.
And once again, they're trying to force the bottom lane, and this time they did get to interrupt Nuclear's jump. But then he got full stacks with the little bomb here on Trashy, so he can actually jump again. That's why he stayed alive on the Tristana. Splyce, though, getting more damage on the turret, trying to see if they can force them back. Nice hook.
Oh, they don't have follow-up damage. Oh, flashing forward. Senkook's, that was oh so close. But let's see Nuclear. Oh, he's got one! Can't quite get the other. The bouncing boomerang, as it were. Doesn't get enough damage. Febiven's going to get away, but Nuclear does fall, stepping a little too close to the sun there.
And Splyce getting another kill now in the bottom lane. I guess if you just keep trying and trying and trying, at some point you will finally get something back.
Yeah, beat your head against the tower, and it looks like they're going to get first tower blood after
It's working. Just keep running straight at the same wall. Jay wants to try and interrupt it. Yanko's on the way, but this tower will die.
All right, last shot there. Chase out it. And yeah, H2K, they ended up matching the pressure and lost out in the end.
So, they actually had a ward to spot the Jarvan here. They do everything trying to interrupt him, but good flay there on Nuclear. And then look, he gets full stacks with the little bomb here, so he actually gets another jump to get out. And it looks fine for H2K with the first kill. Obviously, Febiven is stuck in a 1v2 situation. And now they're solo trying to defend this turret. Yanko's nice hook from Mickey again. Secures that kill. That's an important one because that's actually what allows Splyce to continue pushing.
Yeah. This is a sigh of relief for Splyce right now. All the investment they made, the time they spent down bot is finally paying off. And that last shot. But then, Kabi, I love this part here. Boom.
They needed those kills so badly, and if that one had bounced actually too.
I know, that's what I thought that was what was going to happen, and then it didn't, and I got really confused.
Well, Splyce are pushing on the top side, trying to get a bit more gold in their pockets. They're investing everything for this one. They're also starting Rift Held. I like this play from Trashy. Set up the Rift Held right after the tower goes down. All H2K can do is try and trade then for a Cloud Drake, and that kind of sucks, you know. You want the Rift Held and not the Cloud Drake.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not always the most optimal of trades, but with Splyce getting some tempo advantage.
I mean, Splyce don't even take the trade.
Yeah.
I mean, H2K.
But it's so strange, because it seemed like H2K were controlling this so well, and all of a sudden the tables are turning. The gold leads in Splyce's favor. They got 2 towers to 1. They got the Rift Herald.
I mean, the reason H2K didn't do it here is because they just don't value the Cloud Drake highly. They actually rather just have Jankos go back into his jungle and farm and Febiven hold mid. Before that, though, obviously with Splyce getting that kill on Jankos, then getting that kill on Nuclear, getting that bot lane tower. So all the time spent bot lane suddenly were actually useful to get, you know, a bit of gold here. They're sitting with that 1k gold lead at the moment. It is the Cannon, though, who is, of course, behind.
Yeah, I guess they're not too worried about that for the time being. Instead, trying to focus on Hobby, trying to focus on maybe Sencooks. He does have a kill as well, and we know this Corki, he's going to not be too shy of damage later on in the game. Kabi's even holding on to this turret as Odoamne runs out of minions.
Splyce have gone all in on the Kabi win condition. Yeah. Feed the Sivir with everything you got. Just
yes.
Feed the Sivir.
The good old Sivir comp.
Get her ahead in this game here and then just play team fights with it. It's a pure team fighting comp they have with the AP Cannon. Trinity Force completed for Sencooks as well, and of course, a Corki in late game team fights, fantastic as well.
Okay. Ooh, stop by Nuclear to avoid that thresh hook from Mickey X, but he's got no tower. He's got to walk it out the long way. Febiven finds an uncontested mid tower with Odoamne, so they'll be able to do that. A lot of Splyce boys up top side. Let's see if Sencooks can push him back on the minions. That's a lot of damage with that Trinity Force.
So there's a very low top lane tower and a fairly low mid lane tower Splyce are trying to defend. H2K, of course, actually need to kill them to get the full amount of gold. So at the moment, Splyce are keeping the gold lead in their favor. Leandry's now completed for the Cannon as well. Important item and
Rift Herald summon.
Looked like a potential fight.
Yeah. That sound, always thought maybe it'd be a quick kill, but instead everyone from H2K backed away. The Rift Herald's primed up, goes charging in. Let's see if they have the damage. Shay gets a 2-man charm. Nuclear tags his way in as the teleport comes a little bit later than maybe Splyce wanted it. It's canceled in the end. Kabi's having to run back as Odoamne with the big Gnar lands onto one only, and it's Sencooks who bites the dust. 3-2 now is the total kill score, but they go too far forward. Wonder gets the finishing blow onto Che. With the hop away, Nuclear thought he was safe, but it was Jankos got caught on a line instead. However, H2K, they've got the minion line congoing through. Try and finish off this tower with Nuclear. They should be able to do it, but Trashy, Mickey, Wonder all threatening right here. Do they have the damage?
Gotta keep in mind, Wonder's ulti is ready, and Flash as well.
Might just be able to do it. Trashy getting pulled back away from Febiven. No unleashed power available for him. Looks like finally they'll get it. Odoamne steps forward. Is he fighting it too far forward? It's going to be the Tristana locked up. There's the Wonder ultimate we were looking for. Do they have the damage to follow through? Wonder is even going to make it out alive. How about that for a ninja? But Febiven fires back on Mickey. Teleport coming in. Sencooks is off the cooldown. It's double kill over to Febi, but he's gonna fall. Jankos trying to run for his life, and now it's Wonder throwing out those shurikens. Jankos might just be able to walk away as Che comes through, but Splyce can't help but feeling they won that fight.
Well, it was Splyce setting up first with the Rift Herald, and then H2K engages and overchase twice during this little exchange we saw here. First, it was Che dying, and then after they killed that tower, they thought they could also kill Mickey. Ends up over-chasing again.
That's that classic over-aggression from H2K, though. I mean, we've seen it so many times over so many iterations of this team. Sometimes they get the blood in their eyes, and then all of a sudden they think they're stronger than they are.
So here, Jankos is not able to follow in with Che. Also because there was a minion right in front of him, with TP getting challenged on, so that would have stopped his body slam if he just went straight forward. This is a good setup to get the first kill. Okay, everything is fine now. H2K is calling for the tower, except for Che for some reason. Calling for the absolutely insane all-in with no follow-up possible. So he dies, 4v4. They stay around the turret. We fast-forward it. And we keep feeling, okay, H2K at some point are going to overstep and Wonder's going to get a big ulti. It's Oramne, it's Nuclear. Just take the tower and walk away.
And crucially, Kabi didn't die in that very early engage where the Cinder ult was dumped on top of his head. He was like 10 health, and he's able to heal up enough of it through this to kind of stay alive. And yeah, he dies again, gives a double kill over to Febivin, but Senkux, here he is. Right back off the fountain.
I mean, there's so many kills traded back and forth there. Important to highlight the tower did die in favor of H2K, at least. But that tower obviously on the, you know, right after the fight just died because Senkux was still in lane with full HP. So Splyce win the fight, all in all. Did have to use the Rift Herald as well.
2,000 gold lead, 3 towers to 2. Now things settle a little bit. There was a lot of craziness in the mid lane for a while, and while I say settle, I am not going to be correct. Febivin, he's going to flash out the pit. The hook catches him on a line, but all of a sudden Jankos is there. Mickey's going to get the flay back, and ooh, H2K, they brought more friends to this fight. Nuclear's coming up with that kill.
Ooh, yeah, I think Splyce got a bit surprised there that so many members of H2K were around. Oramne is fighting Senkux.
Oh wow, he's found Senkux here. That's going to be the Valkyrie, a little short range distance. Wonder he's going to tag his way in. A couple of shurikens, that's a stun. Rocket not going to land. Odo will make it out alive.
There's a very low top lane tower that H2K can now kill and get pretty close to Splyce in terms of the gold lead in this game here. Just like game 1, just like game 2, super back and forth. A little bit of over-chasing here and there, especially from H2K's side, but Splyce has pulled one of their own, and both teams are quick to punish.
Absolutely, that's been a hallmark of this series, is how fast the reactions have been. And it was such a weird early game, with Splyce so heavily committing down bottom. It seemed to work out, but at the end of the day, we thought we might see a standard game, and that is not the case.
These teams will never play a standard game against each other. Very clearly.
Yeah.
Splyce still trying to win that first game of the year against H2K. Off to a better start near the mid-game compared to what we saw.
Think that kind of thing weighs on their minds?
Not at all. I think if you even ask the players, they probably won't even realize. They're like, we just play against whatever team we're facing. It doesn't matter who it is, and we're doing our thing. And
turn off the name tags.
trust me, I don't think I don't think they're like, oh my god, we're 0-10, we can't beat these guys. They're more like, screw H2K, man, we can take them down easy.
Confidence, pretty good. Still yet to find that victory, though, in this series and in this year. If there is a time to do it, of course, every game has looked close. Every game has been close.
And that's why, again, I refuse to call it 3-0 before I see it right in front of me. It just feels like Splyce are just as likely as H2K to win this game here. Yeah. Look at the scaling on their side. You know, you got Corki, Sivir, fantastic late game carries. You got AP Kennen as well for the big team fight. Zoning, because like, you gotta keep in mind the big zone that he will create with his ulti. It's important to keep the carries safe in the back. Baron is started now. Oramne needs to TP in if he wants to fight.
Okay, let's see if they turn for Jankos. Okay, Sivir ultimate on, but there's the barrel to knock them back. Mickey is going to throw down that box, but Che comes in.
Wonder
Stun them. It looks like it's going to be Wonder falling first in this fight as Febivin comes up with the kill, and now Trashy's going down. A Dark Sphere, that's 2. Nuclear hopping forward, looking for more. Oh no, Splyce, they've run out of damage for the time being.
Wonder tried to hide in that little brush on the side, but he got spotted by Febivin. He got stunned, he got one shot almost. Right after that, great team fight from the Syndra. And suddenly, the big cannon ulti never actually happened. I don't think his flash was ready for the fight itself, but that's a big cooldown that you didn't get to use.
Big risk for Splyce, doesn't pay off, and now it's going to be another tower. H2K get number 4, the tier 2 in the mid. Not needing to look at Baron very early on in this game. They're playing it out a little smarter.
And Syndra continues to be such a powerful pick here in the EU LCS. Let's see this fight here. Look at how Wonder gets knocked into the brush, hides there, and then Febivin finds him. Multiple abilities, just hitting, stunning him, keeping him in place, and the flash was just a few seconds from being ready. Could have turned the entire fight. But they started that Baron before the flash was up. And they got punished for it.
Big time.
Nice ulti from Jankos as well to just split up the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's had such incredible engages with his team in this series, in this year, in fact. And such an incredible team fight setup that H2K have managed to come out with. Splyce, of course, matching them blow for blow, but it's an advantage here, H2K. It doesn't look huge in the gold game. It's only 1,000. Things can always turn around, but the execution is key.
Right, and that next fight, Wonder will sit with his flash ready. Fabian's flash is on cooldown now. Nucleus is up for a potential fight, but if you can flash onto a Syndra as an AP cannon, like Syndra is out of the fight. There's so little she can actually do, and Hourglass will also be a key thing for Wonder to get to stop the Syndra ulti from one-shotting him. And if he can get that, he's just a massive zoning tool for these AD carries, Kobe and Senkooks in the back.
Oh, Shay, if he wants to go in, he does get a charm onto one. Mickey X doesn't land the play, a little too fast on that one, but now Splyce, they want to take this fight. Teleport now coming in, but it's way in the back line. They've hooked Jankos out, but Trashy, he's running out of health bars. In goes Wonder, but he can't quite get the stuns he wanted to. Kobe does pick up Che off the back half of that one, and the hook is going to pull in Nuclear. Down he goes to Senkooks, and it looks like Splyce, they might just have a big fight, but there is a Big Gnar who misses a big ultimate, and he's pulled right back in. Trying to hang tough here. 3v3 in the mid. Wonder's tapped out of this fight. He's going down to the bottom instead.
Another big fight in that mid lane. H2K looked to be the one starting it, and then Splyce turns it around. Mickey landing another key hook as well in the fight. We got the full flash engage from Wonder. Always got to keep in mind that a Tristana ulti can knock him away.
Yep. Let's see this one more time. It was really hit the go button, go all in, and Che, he wanted it to begin with, but Splyce turned it around.
Che missing the engage is pretty huge here. It means the Splyce can turn it, and while Fabian is on the side without his flash, as soon as Wonder gets in, he hits so many members of H2K, and it forces all of them to just focus him, and then this hook for Mickey is key onto Nuclear. When you get the carry as a Thresh, you can win the fight for your team. And flash away from Senkooks as well. Very close fight.
A lot of near misses too, and of course, had Trashy not gone down to the last shot of the explosive charge, that would have been a much cleaner one for Splyce.
For the next fight though, Wonder will only have his Protobell to try and move forward to surprise a Tristana. If Nuclear is ready, he will just fire his ulti at the cannon who runs at him, shoot him away, and Wonder will not reach the backline as easily. That's going to be a key thing to follow between Nuclear and Wonder specifically.
Do Splyce have enough to basically soak up an ultimate prior to him coming in? It's hard to say, isn't it?
Do you mean like if H2K can survive the game?
Or if Splyce rather can survive getting, 4v5'd until Wonder comes into the fight after the Tristana ultimate spent.
There's a high chance they can, because again they're running double late game AD carries, and the main idea with Wonder is if he can't kill people, at least he forces them to focus him, so that Kobe and Senkooks can kill whoever's in the front line of H2K. Being it an R, being it a Gragas, like that's again one of the key things about the cannon in this game here. But it's a hard game to succeed in with this AP cannon, because there's a Tristana on the other side, because there's a knockback as well from a Gragas. There's a lot of ways for H2K to deny Wonder the big ulti. And sure, I mean, it might be a concern. I just think if he's at least buying time for Kobe and Senkooks, they can still win fights.
Absolutely. But the ever-present threat of Febivin in the mid lane, along with the rest of the team, that's deletion of one champion. Choose your choice, right? Unless Kobe manages to get a quick spell shield off, it seems like it's going to be difficult if H2K can find a pick, and they're definitely not shy of team fighting either. Still very, very, very close game. Only 1,000 gold to lead in favor of H2K, and there's a lot of wave clear on this Splyce side to try and keep things cleaned up. Trashy moving a little bit farther forward, daring to get a bit more vision. Hook comes out, Mickey X doesn't find it. It looks like the charm is on, and there's the damage. The power's unleashed. Trashy, he flags, he drags, he's gonna get away! And he flashes the Gatorade!
Jankos didn't want to use his ulti because he thought it was an easy kill onto Trashy, but then he stayed alive towards the end here. That could have been a kill on a jungler into a Baron being started. Instead, Trashy gets to go back to base and return out on the map and only loses his flash. That was huge.
Now you can see H2K not confident they can go for the Baron after that, of course, so it's going to be an easier Cloud Dragon take. That'll be the first Dragon of the game. Had some more impactful ones in this series so far, but H2K have to be disappointed with how that all shook out. Just not enough damage. Trashy, can't believe he stayed alive that long.
They didn't believe it either. They're like, this is a guaranteed kill. Nuclear getting caught.
Yeah, there's a knockback in. He evaporates. That changes things.
Mickey's just smurfing in this game here on Thresh. Like, he literally flies forward, flash flays, interrupts the jump from Nuclear, and if you don't flash that straight away as a Tristana, you're staying in place. That's a kill on the AD carry. That's Baron being started.
Oh no. Half down the Baron health. Mickey X holding in the front, gatekeeping away so Jankos can't get half, but they turned around one more time! And now it's Febvin caught inside the pick, gets a couple of stuns, but there's nothing else he can do but unleash the power as Kabi picks him up. Might be right back onto Baron for the Splyce boys. Che looking to come in. Meganar operational for Ottawamne. Jankos, he could get a miracle steal, but he would need an incredible move into that pit. Let's see if he can pull it off. They've got full vision of the Fat Man right around the backside of the pit. This one's still tense. In comes Ottawamne. So goes outside the back. The Baron's up for grabs. Can they get it? No, the fight is going to end before it all happens. Jankos gets the smite away, but there's no one but Nuclear to hold on.
But Trashy died during the engage. He couldn't smite the Baron then. H2K, while they lose the fight, at least they do not lose the Baron as well. Ottawamne's Meganar into the engage from Jankos and Che. Killed Trashy. Guaranteed the Baron smite from Jankos because everyone is in there dealing AoE damage, so the Baron would drop low enough. Let's see, this after Mickey's made the play in mid. He then lands a hook on to Febvin, sets up another kill here for his team. And then what's really key is once we get the Baron start and H2K staying around it. Trashy is so low in there, and notice how the Meganar into the body slam kills Trashy. And with all the AoE damage, the Baron will always drop down, and Jankos, just before he dies, gets to smite it and actually steal it.
Oh, man. So H2K, you know, Ottawamne knew exactly what he needed to do to get into that pit and save the day. And Jankos securing out the Baron at the end of it all. So at least Nuclear's got this. Tristana's not the worst champion to have it on either.
At least Splyce didn't get it. That is the key thing for H2K. If they're trying to stay ahead in the game here.
Well, the game just keeps on going. Trashy gets Febvin locked up in the pit. Jankos coming through the Night Scout. Unleash the power. He's going to stay alive through it all.
What?
Sankux, half his health now down. Everyone just burning ultimates on cooldown this game. Otto's hopping forward. In comes Wonder. See if he gets the stun off. Meganar nearly there.
But what? Febvin just stayed alive there. There should have been a guaranteed kill for Splyce. There was no flash on him, and the great engage from Trashy was setting it up. Mickey not hitting anything this time, and that one Baron buff is now pushing in top lane.
Yeah, split push Tristana. Now I feel like I'm watching a Fnatic game. H2K moving with 3 members down towards the mid. Splyce backing away. It's 5-3 on towers. Gonna extend that gold lead just a little bit more, and Ottawamne looking to chase down. Splyce all of a sudden second guessing themselves. Nuclear even picks up a red buff. And all the carnage. A little Tristana just keeps on chugging.
And that was supposed to be an easy kill for Splyce against that Syndra here, but Febvin just stayed alive towards the end.
Yeah, that was close. We've seen so many of these close calls. That's the crazy
thing. It keeps
thing.
happening, and you never know if someone stopped DPS because they thought he was already gone, or... I didn't get to see if there was like a great peel from Che. I think he was in there trying to disrupt Splyce as well.
Yeah. This game is textbook example of why it's okay to KS sometimes.
That's true. Just use everything. Kill that one guy.
Just drop it.
Win the late game. It's so even.
Oh, yeah. No kidding.
Even Blue Buff doesn't want to die.
Okay, Febvin gets it. Yeah, this is just an absolutely insane game, and it's not going to show any signs of stopping. Trashy tanks a little damage. He's got a shield on, so it's not going to be quite so detrimental to him, but now it has become a 5v5 in the middle for the time being. But
they popped the Sivir
want to
ulti.
chase this one. Sivir on the hunt. Here we go.
There's no flash Febvin.
Flag and drag. Trashy looking for an opening. He takes a lot of damage off the back of it all. The hook only lands onto a Baron-empowered minion.
Yeah, Splyce was calling for the engage on the Syndra right there. Trashy needed to get in range with the Sivir ulti, get onto Febvin with his ulti, keeping in place, and then just destroy H2K in the fight, but he did not get in range.
Ottawamne's not there. The hook, it lands onto Che. They don't want to go. Trashy, the flag and drag back into his own base. Towers down in the bottom. Things are starting to fall apart here for Splyce. 2 games down, on the verge of getting swept.
It's so close though. Like, it's only a few thousand gold. Splyce are definitely still in this game, and one big team fight with an AP cannon, and suddenly you're winning the entire thing. This makes it a perfect game 3 here for our series of constant back and forth and never knowing who's actually winning until the Nexus dies.
Yeah. You know, almost tempted to, to call it like, it's not always the cleanest League of Legends, just because you can't plan for this kind of stuff. This is pure chaos.
I mean, a lot of what's happening is that the teams are timing cooldowns really well. So when they know a certain carry is sitting without a flash, they look to force fights on that carry because they know there's a higher chance they're going to win the fight now. So that's why you see Splyce just randomly pop his Silver ulti and try and rush at H2K because they knew, okay, Febiven, he's going to die, or he should die, due to no flash. And it's why we keep having these fights, because when one team is then winning the fight and use all their flashes, then the next fight, well, then the other team is trying to do the same to them. And it's constant back and forth. Of course, the Baron play could have been cleaner from Splyce's side, but it's one of those small moments where it's up to one guy, you know, he gets stunned. Trash in this case, he dies, and then suddenly it doesn't go in Splyce's favor. And it's just very back and forth. It's down to who can keep, you know, making the correct calls in the heat of the moment with all this information in your mind of like which summoners are ready, which abilities are ready, whenever you're looking to start a fight.
And we're starting to get into those closer to full items, not 100% across the board, but like 3, 4 on a lot of the carries. That's a lot of damage, a lot of burst, and we've seen how close it's been with just not having all of those. One tick of damage could be the difference maker. Nuclear down to half health.
And Nuclear actually delayed some of his late game damage by going for GA to try and stay alive. If there's an all-in, oh, good hook!
Oh, they pulled Shay, and he's gonna get melted through that. Senkuk starting it off with one quick pick. Senkuk's holding on as Odoamne with the Meganar nearly completes. Has to scurry away. Right back into the fight he goes. Meganar comes up. Boomerang Blade looks like Mickey X is the one they're targeting. Wonder he just can't get in this fight. Or can he? Now he wants to go back in. Trashy gets a hop onto Jankos, keeps him locked up for the time being. 1-for-1 trade.
Wonder tried to recall so you could TP back into the fight. Did interrupt it though, and Trashy got engaged on here by Jankos and the rest of H2K, and they secure a 1-for-1 so far. Odoamne's Meganar is obviously gone, but full HP on both carries. Same actually for Splyce on their side.
Dragon teleport coming in now. Wonder as he had backed away is going to spend that to just try and take a fight. They don't really want to contest this Dragon without a smite. They don't really need to do it. Anyways, Odoamne locked up on the side. Senkuk's low.
Wonder's still coming here with flash and ulti. He needs to get in the fight.
Let's see if they can do it. Here he goes, and that is a lot of damage. Not enough to finish anyone off. Dragon falls in all the chaos, but Kavi chasing them down inside the pit. That's one, that's two. And Splyce, they come up with the fight. Do lose a little bit off the backside, though. Mickey X was the first casualty. Let's see if they can pick up Febiven. Nowhere for him to go trying to lead these minions all the way through. Still dangerous, cornered. If Syndra gets a pick off, that's going to be hashtag worth.
This could be like one of the biggest outplays.
Yeah, but wait for the Jarvan. Just wait for the Jarvan. Auto teleport.
Trash is on the way, he's trying to ruin it. Oh, he's trying to
get in! Oh my goodness, you gotta turn it around! He gives his life. Febiven falling, but he did his job. And now Odo's tagged his way in looking for Trashy. Senkuk's waiting in the wings, flash forward by the Gnar. The action simply does not stop. Chase here for the backup. Trashy is gonna fall. You gotta be kidding me, man.
Man, the individual outplays we're seeing in this game, fantastic. Febiven landed that stun into a double kill, and they're getting more.
Looking for Senkuk's, the box is down, Dodo 108, and he might be thinking right outside of it. Flash was what Senkuk's used to get out of that one, and the hook, it's not gonna land. How many engages have we had this game, Deficio?
I don't know, 1 million so far, at least in this series. Baron is alive, but we want to get a replay of the fight we saw just before here. Wonder TP'd in, flash, protobell, ulti, everything was ready, but he appeared so far away from the actual fight that he needed to see his support die first, but then he joins in, pops the GA, gets a bit of damage on Febiven. Baron, by the way, is being taken by H2K. They're gonna secure it because Trash is still dead. And now we get the big one. Staying alive, forces Senkuk's away. Wonder also needs to respect the damage. TP comes in, lands one stun, holds on another one, and then Che joins. Look at the stun landing here on 2, into another combo. That's kills for Febiven, and sadly for him, he needs to die just on the way out.
I mean, he lasted so long off the back of a lost fight. You can't just dive a Syndra that has that much damage to dish on you, and Che comes in, sets up the crazy play. Then they get even more off the back of this. Senkuk's would have gone down if he hadn't flashed. And H2K, this is starting to be the lead. They have Baron buff. It's nowhere near safe at this point.
No.
But they've won the last couple of objective trades.
It's true, it's true. They're getting, you know, further ahead without having won the game just
Still
yet.
momentum. This is an H2K thing. They're 2 games up. They have a gold lead. They haven't made any serious mistakes that they haven't been able to recover from.
You know what else is an H2K thing, especially from the regular season, is Febiven doing really well. Game 1 and 2, his job was to stay alive, don't die in the early game. He's not going to get any help. Game 3 on the Syndra, they played more around him. He's been fantastic in so many fights. And again, this is what we want to see, the superstar performances in a gauntlet where you need to win every single best of 5 you're playing if you want to make worlds. And Febiven and Jankos, those two guys, they've been performing at a very high level in the series.
Yeah. We did ask the question, you know, we needed to see H2K step up a little bit. There were some playoff woes once again.
A little
It seemed
bit,
to be a history of that for H2K. And, you know, and you can't really pin it on individual players other than just not standing out to the level that we expect from them in the regular season.
And if this game, you know, ends in an H2K win, and it's a 3-0 H2K, I really hope people will still go in and actually re-watch it, because this was not a, oh my god, H2K is stomping Splyce, what a boring series. Like, it's been so close in every single game that it almost feels horrible to see a 3-0, just because we've had so many back and forth fights.
At no point has really it felt unwinnable by either team until the Nexus falls. It's really crazy.
But we are still
again.
seeing H2K being that one step ahead of Splyce, and that's why they're 2-0. That's why they're about to kill this turret and maybe win this game.
Look for Wonder. This might be the final fight. However, they're holding strong. The minions have run out. H2K have got to back away for now, or do they know they have one more in the back, and they're going to be able to finish off that tower. 7 for them this game, but Wonder, he's back off the fountain. Let's see if they can turn this fight around. Otoamne, he's here as well.
Oh, they need Wonder's flash fast to be ready here if he's ever going to get onto Fabian and Nuclear in the fights.
No teleport for him either just yet.
Jankos and Otoamne as well in these team fights here, they're actually looking at the cannon a lot. And they're not just like ignoring him and running past him to get to the carries, because they know they're just going to die then to the Sivir, to the Corki. So they're always trying to like look where Wonder is and see if they can knock him away, appeal. And then after the cannon ulti is gone, they can turn the fight around.
Just trying to push too far, or push forward without pushing too far, because Otoamne not with him. He's in the mid, dragging Splyce around. See if they can close this one out, taking the objectives, not needing the fight here as they have the pressure on their side. Trashy's going low. Nuclear in the front line. On the hunt is Papa Che. He's going to try to stem this onslaught. Goes right back in to try and protect his carry, but pulled into the box. It's Nuclear hopping out. He's exhausted, and now the rest of the team says, that's okay, we got your back. We'll tag right in. And it looks like Splyce are running out of steam here. The inhibitor is going to fall. Minions charging on all lanes. H2K, this looks like the end game for them. We're nigh on 40 minutes. It has been so close.
Wonder's coming from behind here. Actually just canceled it because Fabian walked out to where he was TPing. Flash is ready.
Desperate fight. Trashy, he's a little low.
Wonder, he needs to do it, man.
Let's see if Wonder can make that play. No teleport, but he's got to be able to find the miraculous fight. Knocked back by Nuclear. And now the tour of the base is nearly complete. H2K find 1, 2, 3 inhibitors and Mickey X to cap it all off. And they know they don't need to push their luck just yet. They have a massive lead.
Elder Drake spawning as well. Splyce will be busy dealing with all the super minions. They tried to flash and get engaged onto Nuclear. Just flash, flay, hook him right after. But Chase interrupt here with his own engage. Actually saved his AD carry. H2K didn't get to re-engage after everything had already been used by Splyce. Wonder had to cancel that TP. He was always looking to actually move in behind H2K. And Splyce hovering around Elder Drake. They know there's going to be super minions in their base. Trying to see if maybe they can force one last team fight. Wonder's flank needs to be perfect. They're doing it, they're starting it.
There we go. Elder Drake, but that's a big objective to try and tank. Here comes Otoamne around the side. This feels like desperation. There's a 2-man charm, and H2K move into action, melting through Wonder's health bar. Nothing for the Splyce boys to do, and that Gatorade looks to be a celebration for H2K as they keep moving forward. Trashy, he can't do a damn thing. Oh no, and Senkux, yeah, there's nowhere for you to go, buddy. Nard into the wall. It is all on Kabi to try and hold, but I don't think that's possible.
No, there's so many super minions. 5 members alive as well on the side of H2K, and they're going straight for that Nexus.
Oh my goodness, Kabi, one last desperation charge, and H2K just say, stay back on the fountain.
He's baiting them into the fountain.
You need to do it. It's going to be the cleanup, and the super minions will be able to do the rest. That is the ace. And H2K, they had some skeletons in their post-game closet, but they are pulling out the big sweep to clean it all up. Moving on to face UOL tomorrow.
And suddenly looking like such a scary team here in the gauntlet. So many questions from this semi-final, the third place game. 2 of the games today, they didn't even play around the mid lane. They played around bot lane, they played around top lane. It was successful. Game 3, they picked the Syndra. Febiven, fantastic performance obviously on it. Massive, massive, massive carry.
Everyone did not only their job, but stepped up in the clutch. I mean, we saw so many incredible Rakan combos in this entire series, but it was that one at the end with Che stopping the Sivir push that really sealed that deal.
There were so many big plays in this series, despite it only being 3 games, which is actually quite impressive. And so many fights could have gone both ways, but we just saw H2K for once in a best-of series just being a step above whoever they're actually facing. Because very often when you keep having these very close encounters, well, it was H2K getting that 1 extra kill, getting that Baron.
And that adds up over time.
It does, it adds up, and they kept getting a little bit more gold, a little bit more gold, and then eventually they were strong enough to just win the last few team fights. And man,
yeah,
this was actually,
so
despite a
incredible.
3-0, a series that just really delivered in terms of entertainment and also some really good plays.
And any game could have gone any direction. I mean, that was the closest 3-0 I think we've seen in a long time.
Which is also why now I'm just like, I'm already looking forward to tomorrow. I'm just like, ooh, Unicorns Aloft, they've been hiding for 3 weeks. What have they been preparing? What have they been practicing?
We saw some interesting picks today. I wonder if the Unicorns are going to follow suit.
I mean, maybe. Who knows? And now they're looking at this H2K team with a ton of confidence all of a sudden after 3-0ing Splyce in this first game here. And that's going to be another big one that could also be super, super close and super back and forth. But H2K, they look scary, man.
They
look
do.
scary.
They do. I mean, and again, it's not like they were able to just crush the opposition. I mean, it's got to feel so bad for Splyce that they couldn't take a game because every single moment it seemed like they could turn it around.
Yeah, you're going to VOD review that one,
rough,
and you're going to
man.
be like, this moment, here we actually won the game, then this happened. And that's a tough one, but that doesn't matter because H2K 3-0'd, played better in the end, and deserved to win.
And they did indeed. Now H2K, they're staying in the race for Worlds with that victory, so let's hand it over to the analyst desk to wrap up the series.
Thank you very much, Pyra and Official. Obviously, we are going to talk to some of the winning side in just a bit. I do want to recap this game specifically and maybe look over the entire series because it was very convincing from H2K. I feel like this one might have been the closest one because it wasn't one big lead after the other. It was just close overall, and H2K just getting those little steps to victory.
Little steps that all revolved around the bottom lane at first. I mean, this game, everything went bot lane to start things off, but we jumped way further on in the game here towards the first Baron fight. And these were the fights that were just back and forth all the time, and so much of it depended on whether Wonder on this cannon could actually get a flank. And most of the time, no, he couldn't.
I really feel like Kennen in the current meta, it's very hard to place. The lane into Gnar is not something that you super hard win, especially when you itemize AP. I think against the Syndra, Tristana, it's so hard to imagine yourself getting in from a good position. And on top of that, the itemization is so difficult. You need Hourglass, you need Proto Belt, you need all these fancy things that you won't get in a game that is realistically decided at 20 minutes.
Yeah, good point. Yamato, you were also pointing out, we're saying, oh, Syndra is very strong, Fevin's playing a great game, but you said, well, both mid laners are having a great showing this series and this game specifically, yet Fevin came out on top in the end.
I think performance-wise, Feviven showed up big time. I feel like in playoffs he was quite underwhelming from what I saw. I remember the idea with how Febiven performed in the regular split. I think this was more reminiscent of that. And on top of that, I think Senkooks, when it matters the most, I think he performs very well. I think we saw that against G2, he was performing very, very well. And on top of that, like my greatest memory of Senkooks performing when it matters the most is at Worlds. He was playing against Crown and showed up big time in these big matches. And I think he deserves some props for this match as well.
Yeah, the Corki looked very good, especially in Game 3. I think to look at Febiven a little bit more, I think good series overall from him. Didn't quite have as much attention as we're used to him having, perhaps. A lot of the time Jankos has spent around that mid lane in the regular split. Now, I want to see what happens without jumping too far forward to tomorrow, because Exile, we have no idea where the read is on him. And if Febiven comes in like this today, that's a very scary H2K going up against the Unicorns.
That it is. We'll talk more about the specific matchup later, but aside from that, the fact that H2K has played a lot of matches now they come in and they have, yes, an intense, but still a 3-0 victory with in the back of their minds. They still might have to play 2 best-of-5s back-to-back. This is kind of the perfect start for them.
I think when it comes to H2K, like, sure, they give up these early game leads. I think that's a big red alarm. I think also Nuclear tending to fall behind on CS is also a big alarm, but you have to resort to kind of band-aid solutions. I think H2K have adapted very well in draft, putting Odoamne on the right champions and Nuclear on comfort. And I think this is as far as kind of short-term improvement as you can go when it comes to a team like H2K.
And one other piece of the puzzle that clicked today, Jankos, he was on the right kind of champions. He also was in a lot of activity early on in the game. The Sejuani was always hitting Vel'Koz in game one. Like, he was a man possessed through the most of this series because he generally was on top of his game, and we can't say that about Jankos in every single playoff series.
It's true. That also gave him the player of the series for this series. And you say it, Sejuani, great performance in games 1 and 2. And then he gets it banned away. And that's not often we see that happening. But he still performed on the Gragas in game 3. And well, even when they weren't as good in the early game, Jankos was still there. It was just that the rest didn't really work out as well in the team fights. But this guy, is he tilt-proof now, Yamato?
I would say so. I think even in the series against Fnatic, he played very, very well. I think Jankos, he's made the name for himself for being this Elise Lee Sin player. But even in this meta that I would say is very favored towards a player like Trashy that prefers to play the Gragas and Sejuani, he still performs as arguably one of the best junglers in Europe, if not the best one currently.
Fantastic performance by him. And H2K, they took down Splyce with a 3-0 sweep. Let's head over to Pyra for a word with their jungler. There we go. Perfect.
Thank you very much, Shox. Yeah, standing by here. So, Jankos, I mean, that was such an incredibly close 3-0. It was action-packed every minute of the way. Did you expect, after game 1 even, that you could close that out in 3 with how close Splyce were playing you?
I think that in every game, we are just trying our best, and it doesn't really matter how many games does it go to. Against Fnatic last week, it went to 5th game, and, it's a lot of pressure on you, but I think as long as we just kind of go on stage and want to show what we improved or what we were working on, I think, we'll just show what we have. And then if it's not enough, then opponents were better, but we will see if it's enough or not.
Very gracious response, too, for the Splyce boys. Now, one of the things it seemed like you guys really improved on, especially from the playoff performance you had, was being able to make those calls from behind and actually execute them, playing team fights out when you guys didn't necessarily have the leads. Is that something you really focused on leading up to the match?
I honestly believe that sometimes in the games against the better teams, we lack confidence, and that made us look really weak. And I'm not saying it's fixed. I'm just saying that we are aware of the issue. And, we will try to show our best tomorrow and day after if we even make it through tomorrow.
Seems like you're not 100% sure on that one. Does this 3-0 not give you guys a little bit extra confidence from what you had before?
No, I mean, it's more like, I don't want to be cocky and say that we will win, but I'm confident that we'll pound them, kind of.
All right, I'll take it at the very least. Well, maybe the Unicorns better watch their backs. Do you think they're going to pull out any of the more interesting kind of stuff you saw against Splyce Day, like the Vel'Koz?
I honestly believe that Unicorns right now are a very strong team. I think no one spoke about them before the Gauntlet, and I think they are looking really strong in scrims against us. And to be honestly, we were shaking in scrims lately. I'm shaking as of we didn't have a lot of good results. Like, yeah, pretty much not a lot of good results, but as long as you, try, on stage and you just saw what you worked on and you are just, trying your best. And even if it doesn't work in scrims, it doesn't matter, because for some teams it does work in scrims and it doesn't matter on stage. So I'm happy with our performance today, to be honest with you. And I'm happy how we played. And I think we have a potential, but there is still some things that we need to look on. And on top of it, we shouldn't disrespect anyone, especially Unicorns right now. So.
Well, we'll see how it all goes tomorrow. I mean, it sounds like you guys are definitely working your way forward. Thank you so much, Jankos, and congratulations. Good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you very much, mate.
All right, back to Shox and Co.
Thanks, mateys. Great interview over there. I want to say that in the last weeks of the split leading up to playoffs and now in this interview as well, Jankos seems calmer to me. Like, he seems a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious, but it wasn't as crazy. But that might also be just a conscious decision. Let's just try and take it as easy as possible to do the things we need to do.
I think that's interesting because you look at a year ago, maybe he was one of the more outspoken players here in Europe, and he's kind of had that edge taken off him, which is a good thing if he can maintain a good mentality throughout the game, right? And the Gauntlet is a test of strength. It's 3 best-of-5s back-to-back. I'm much happier to see a Jankos that is reserved rather than a Jankos that's like, I'm going to smash them tomorrow, and then the third day, and we're going to Worlds 100%.
That's kind of cool too. But
It is cool, but I think seeing at least some kind of calm composure is at least reassuring to H2K going into tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's been a lot of like dank memes with H2K in playoffs. I think, everyone knows how H2K chokes in playoffs. They don't adapt in playoffs. I think H2K also knows this. And coming into this playoffs, I feel like we've seen a massive difference. I think there's been adaptation, and I don't think besides that 3-0 that there's been any tilt besides that.
Well, and you also have to see how G2 ended up playing in the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can give them kind of an excuse for that. And yeah, dank meme-wise, there probably is a quota. They have H2 what? So they're saying, okay, we need 1, 2, 3, 5 for a week of you guys. But just kidding. Fantastically composed Jankos, and they'll have to be composed. They have a lot of work to do because after their win tonight, H2K are ready for at least one more series. They're going to face off against the Unicorns of Love tomorrow. Stress, you started to touch on it already. Well, if H2K came into this match with a 0-8 or an 8-0 rather record over Splyce, they now have an 3-8 record against Unicorns of Love and haven't managed to beat them in a series. So,
but there is one thing we saw today out of H2K that if they can do against Unicorns would be a bit of a fix towards what the Unicorns have done well, and that is the fighting around mid in a reactive way and actually being good around that. Like, they took a few fights against Splyce where perhaps Splyce even should have won, but H2K looked clean. And if they can do that against the Unicorns, that neutralizes a lot of the difficulty that H2K have had when playing up against Unicorns of Love.
I think the main thing that you need to have when you play against Unicorns of Love is something that Jankos touched on, is decisiveness. And I think today the thing that won them the games was the decisiveness. I remember that Dragon fight when Renekton just TP'd in and everyone just committed to the same thing. I think that's something that has been very lacking for H2K. And I think if you bring that into a match against Unicorns of Love and you just commit to one thing, you're all on the same page, then you're not going to get picked off one by one, which usually happens against a chaotic, crazy team as Unicorns of Love.
that's true. We talk a lot from H2K's perspective. Stress, I heard you talking in the beginning of the show about MVP Vizicachi, Spring MVP. We'd want to see that again. About Exile, what is the ultimate key to victory here for Unicorns of Love tomorrow?
I think it has to be an Exile that isn't a sore point for Febiven and Jankos. If Febiven and Jankos go mid, get Exile on a champion that when there's no flash, there's no hope, suddenly Exile is going to be without a lot of his strength, and we've seen that happen a lot of times. 3 weeks has to have been enough time for the Unicorns to fix that. That's what I need to see.
Yeah, there's some mystery because we haven't seen them. Yamato, you're not with us tomorrow, but you'll be joining us again for the deciding match on Sunday. Who's playing Fnatic there?
Oh, it's so crazy, because if you look at it, it's like a circle of kryptonite, Splyce, they get beaten by H2K. H2K have problems against Unicorns of Love, and then Fnatic just denied them in the finals, like always, And that might be the case, but I think Unicorns of Love, there's so many question marks. There's always been a problem with Exile. I remember even back in the last season where Exile just played 3 champions, which was Kassadin, Ryze, and Vladimir. And when teams saw through that, it was very easy to cut in half. But now with all this time, it's just a question, what is Exile's champion pool? He doesn't really favor the Syndra, doesn't favor the Orianna. I can't imagine him playing the Cassiopeia either, but maybe he just busts out with something new completely. We never know. And I think the point about Vizicachi and I think also Hylissang falls into this basket. They've been very inconsistent throughout the split. And I think this has been a major issue for them because I think even though Exile has been the focus point because he's the one dying and with the bad stats and playing the Talon, I think the rest of the Unicorns of Love have also underperformed heavily besides Samox. And I think he's the guy to look out for when it comes to Unicorns of Love.
The shining light at the end. We'll see if it is enough for the Unicorns tomorrow and what they have in store for us. It's time for us to log off for the night. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys for joining me on the desk. And tomorrow we will be back with H2K versus the Unicorns of Love. See you then.
It is the region.